Hello, I'm back. So sorry for missing my upload last Friday. Unfortunately, I was impacted by the ice storm that came through and Nashville was hit particularly hard. We were 8 days without any power in sub-zero temperatures, so not a fun week. But this week, we're discussing something you'll never unsee once you notice it, and that's the hidden meaning behind street names. So have you ever noticed how the nicest homes always seem to be on avenues or boulevards and rarely on lanes or roads? That's not random. Street names used to describe how a place was built, how it functioned, and even the status it carried. And when you line them up historically, they almost tell the story of America itself. We start with the tiny settlements with barely any roads at all, then dirt paths through the landscape, then rural lanes, city streets, planned suburban neighbourhoods, and eventually onto the grand wide boulevards designed to impress. So today we're going to walk through that progression, and let's start at the very beginning, before there were even proper streets, at a time when people just settled. And that's where the word Hamlet comes from the old French word Hamlet, meaning tiny village. So literally just a handful of homes, no church, no market, no real roads at all, just houses clustered together and dirt paths connecting them. And that's how most early American settlements started. Housing first, infrastructure later. Then these footpaths started getting used over and over again as people followed the same routes through fields and woods, and those worn paths became what we now call a trace. The word trace also comes from the French word tracer, meaning to mark or to trace a path. In America, especially in the South and Midwest, many traces follow Native American trails or early pioneer routes. For example, near me in Nashville is the Natchez Trace, which started as a Native American trail and then turned into a pioneer and trade route. Some traces are even older than America itself. As settlements grew, those trails slowly turned into local roads. So a lane comes from the Old English word lanu, meaning a narrow passage. And historically, it was muddy, unpaved, rural, specifically designed for walking or for carts, certainly not for traffic. And even today, the word lane feels very kind of small and quaint. A way is even simpler. It comes from the Old English word weg, meaning a path, and it's probably the most literal street name that there is. In modern subdivisions, it's often just used as a practical naming solution. It doesn't imply anything fancy. It simply means this is a way through. And then there's place. A place isn't really a route at all, more of a spot. And in many cities, places show up where the grid doesn't quite work. So you can kind of have a short leftover street or a little pocket of homes. It's what happens when perfect planning meets messy reality. So all of these kind of trace, way, place have kind of small, humble kind of connotations. And that's because they had very small, humble beginnings. Once cities and suburbs started being planned intentionally, street names stopped describing accidents and started describing design. And this is where language becomes really revealing. Take a court. Court comes from the Latin word cohort, meaning an enclosed yard. And that's exactly what it feels like, tucked away and protected. And after World War II, there was an explosion in courts in suburban America because planners marketed them as secure and much safer and quieter for families. Then you have row, from the Old English word raw, meaning a line, like row houses. These are your classic East Coast streets in places like Baltimore and Philadelphia, where homes are attached side by side. Dense, walkable, urban living, where everything is about proximity. A circle is different again. Circles are modern planning psychology because they're designed to slow traffic and discourage cut-through drivers. They're designed to feel calm and neighbourly. You might also see a crescent. Crescents are from the old French crescent, meaning growing or curving, like a croissant or the shape of the moon, just like a gentle arc. And in the US, crescents are often seen in kind of older planned neighbourhoods and garden suburbs. And like circles, they're less about traffic and more about design, shaping how a place feels. Then we get to drive. The word drive comes from estate carriage drives, scenic routes through large private properties. And these weren't built for speed, but designed to enjoy the landscape. So that's why the word drive is starting to feel a little bit more high end. Then we have terrace, which comes from the word terra, meaning earth. Historically, it meant elevated or stepped land. And in older cities, higher ground meant better drainage and healthier living. So terrace quietly became associated with status. And this is where you start to see it. Street names aren't just describing roads anymore, they're shaping perception. Now let's zoom out to the city level, and this is where streets get bigger and more formal. A road is practical. It comes from the Old English word rud, meaning a journey. Roads connect places, they're functional with little ceremony. Street, however, is a little different, and it comes from the Latin word strata, meaning paved road, literally an engineered infrastructure. So streets are where buildings front the sidewalks, where daily life happens. Streets are the public rooms of the city. Then you get avenues, from the French word avenir as well as the Latin advenire, both meaning to approach. An avenue is an approach to something important, and that's why avenues tend to be wider, straighter, and very much more deliberate. And finally, you reach the grandest street name of all. Boulevard comes from the Middle Dutch word bulwark, meaning a defensive wall. And in Europe, many boulevards replaced old city fortifications, which is why they're so wide and sweeping. In the late 1800s, American cities copied that idea during the City Beautiful movement. After decades of crowded industrial streets, planners wanted cities to look powerful and civilized, just like Paris. So they built these great boulevards, chic plazas, and monumental streets designed to impress. So all this explains how street names became a kind of hidden language. They tell you how a place grew, how it was planned, and even the status it was trying to project. And once you start noticing it, you'll never look at a street sign the same way again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next week, as long as the power stays on, for more Homes Explained. And please don't forget to share, like, subscribe. It really helps out my little channel. See you next week.